Imagine sitting comfortably in your living room, scrolling on your phone, completely ignoring the fact that the walls around you are engulfed in flames. You're burning alive, but you're too distracted by your daily routine to notice. This is the reality for a lot of us. Take Alex, for example. She wakes up, immediately checks her notifications, and builds her entire day around what other people need from her. Her digital connectivity is at 100%, but her internal reality is basically flatlining. To keep up with this routine, Alex has to disconnect from her own physical needs. She treats her body like a machine, pouring in caffeine to force productivity and ignoring exhaustion just to cross another task off the list. A vacation won't touch this emptiness. Burnout is a physical depletion, but this is a psychological divorce, an estrangement from your own identity. We call this self-loss. It isn't a lapse in your calendar, it's a lapse in your existence. Moving forward requires reevaluating the very mechanics of how you relate to yourself. When you experience self-loss, the boundaries that protect your identity begin to collapse. You lose track of where your own desires end, and the expectations of the people around you begin. This collapse paralyzes what psychologists call inner consent, the internal green light you need to make authentic choices. Without it, you stop giving yourself permission to live for yourself. Living without that consent is exhausting. You start relying on emotional suppression, forcing yourself into a constant performance. You push out a fake laugh at a joke you don't find funny, or nod along to opinions you secretly hate. Push down those genuine feelings for long enough, and your internal compass breaks. Without clear personal values to guide your decisions, you are left with a chronic, lingering sense of aimlessness. Seeing these scattered frustrations as a single, unified condition provides a lens through which you can finally begin to address the source. How do we lose our identity in the first place? Often, it starts with an acute shock. When a traumatic event hits, the brain prioritizes immediate physical safety over everything else, effectively shutting down your sense of self to focus entirely on staying alive. Kuburic experienced this firsthand growing up in a war-torn environment. She spent her early years in pure survival mode, a mental state that kept her physically safe but actively prevented her from developing self-awareness. But self-loss doesn't require a war zone. It often stems from mundane origins. Rigid family rules or intense societal pressures quietly stifle your individuality from childhood, training you to conform instead of explore. This training leads to self-betrayal. You start willfully amputating pieces of your personality, hiding your true interests or silencing your opinions just to secure approval from parents, peers, or partners. Over time, living like this creates an incredibly uncomfortable reality. We often develop an unconscious desire to stay lost. Staying lost is a highly effective psychological defense mechanism. As long as you don't know who you are, you don't have to face the heavy, terrifying responsibility of living authentically and owning your choices. We try to comfort ourselves with the idea of essentialism, the belief that you have a predestined inherent soul waiting out there for you to discover it, like digging up a hidden prize. But the 20th century philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre proposed a harsher reality known as existentialism. Sartre's core thesis is that existence precedes essence. You don't start with a pre-drawn path. You are born as a blank slate, and you invent your own identity piece by piece through the actions you take. Sartre called this the absurdity of freedom. You are so entirely free that even refusing to act as a choice, avoiding a tough decision, or staying in a job you hate isn't hitting pause on your life. It is an active choice that continues to shape who you are. That feeling of inner emptiness doesn't hurt because you misplaced your map. It hurts because you are being crushed by the realization that no one else is coming to write your story. You alone are responsible for your identity. To cure self-loss, you have to realize that true authenticity is not a static noun. It is a dynamic, never-ending verb. It is an ongoing process of self-expression and constant revision. You have to abandon the search for some grand universal meaning of life. As existential therapy makes clear, meaning is something you must actively create for yourself, day by day, through your choices. If choices are what build us, then the fact that our time is finite gives every decision its weight. Our mortality is the ultimate deadline, stripping away the trivial and forcing us to choose what genuinely matters before the window closes. Ending self-loss means stepping out of the role of a passive survivor. It requires choosing every day to be the active protagonist of your life.